learners, welcome to Education Online program. I'm teacher Regina Massimo, presenting a topic in biology for Senior 3 and Senior 4. The topic is food processing in ruminant digestive system. In our previous lesson, we look at the digestive system in ruminant, or we look at ruminant digestive system, which is another type, the third type of the digestive system, and we learn about their structures. Now we want to look at the food processing. How do they process the food, or how do they treat the food in their body, starting from the ingestion, the time they take in the food, until the food is digested and absorbed. At the end, the waste are sent out of the body. So this is the treatment of the food, how food is treated in the body. We know very well the digestive or the digestion, the process of digestion in ruminant is start by chewing and swallowing the food stuff. The digestion is start by chewing and swallowing the food stuff. Then the first digestion start at the first two rooms of the stomach, the reticulum and rumen. Here in the rumen, we said this room here containing many microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, and some of the protozoa. The function of this organism to break the roughage, that means to digest the cellulose. So you'll find in this room what will take place is the breakdown of cellulose. Breakdown of cellulose by the enzyme known as cellulase. Enzyme cellulase released by the organism in this room to break down the cellulose, because we said cellulose has no enzyme in the body of animal, specifically the mammals, to digest or to break down the cellulose. That's why this room contains that decomposers like bacteria, fungi, and the other protozoas to break down this sugar. In the ruminant, the first start by ingestion. Ingestion is the process of introducing the food into the mouth. How do they introduce their food? Ingestion. Introducing the food into the mouth. We said mouth and the tongue, it helps in the harvesting the food, because that tongue is wrapped around the plant. The tongue is wrapped around the plant, which is the food, and pulling it with the help of the mouth, pulling the grass to tear it for consumption. Ruminant use the mouth and the tongue to harvest the fodder during grazing by wrapping their tongue around the plants and then pulling to tear the plant for consumption. As we have said, they lack what? The incisor, the upper incisors. These are upper teeth. They have only one at the lower jaws, but they have good premolar and molar for grinding. So these food which are harvested will be will be crushed during initial chewing and rumination. So this food is grinded, will be crushed by premolar and molar. These are the teeth in the initial chewing. Why do we say initial chewing? Because we know very well that the ruminant, they differ from the monogastric animals in that they take quantity of the food, but they don't chew it properly. Then they swallow it. When they swallow it, with time, they again bring it back into they vomit it back into the mouth to re-chew it and again swallow it again. So in the initial chewing, they take their food, then in the mouth they mix it with the saliva. The saliva, we know very well, it contains enzymes like lipase and pepsin or amylase. These are the saliva plus the food. That means the food taken through the mouth is mixed with the saliva. And this saliva contains many digestive enzymes like lipase and amylase. These are the enzymes contained by the saliva. This one to break down the fat, and this one to break down the starch, because this animal feed on plants, and the sugar is stored in the plants known as starch. Starch is a polysaccharide, needs to be broken into the smallest unit of sugar, which is glucose. So when this food is mixed with the saliva, and this saliva also containing some ions like sodium, potassium, and even phosphate, bicarbonate, and urea. This one to form what? When this food are mixed with this, at the end will form bolus. This bolus then will be pushed by the help of the tongue at the back of the mouth. Will be pushed by the tongue at the back of the mouth, then to reach what? Esophagus. From the esophagus coming into these two rooms of the stomach, reticulum and ruminant. First is come here. So allows the food to pass. The esophagus allows the food to reach there to the stomach. But the esophagus doing bidirectional functions. The food is swallowed into the mouth, again will be vomited back to the mouth through esophagus. That's why we said it's carry bifunction. That means to function. This cat then swallowed again. In the initial chewing, the food is sent into the reticulum. Later, it is vomited back to the mouth to be rechewed. This type of food, which is now brought back again, is called cat. This cat is rechewed, again swallowed. This time, the solid material will go straight to the rumen, the solid material. Solid material goes back to rumen. for fermentation. While most of the liquid portion move from the reticulum into the omasome. That means here, this is the liquid portion comes to omasome, while the solid portion of the cat coming to the rumen here for fermentation by that microorganisms. This liquid portion in this omasome then come to the apomasome here, which is the true stomach. In this true stomach or apomasome, we'll find hydrochloric acid, pepsin or pepsinogen. Pepsinogen, well, when the enzyme, this enzyme, if it is still inactive, we call it pepsinogen. But if it is active, we call it pepsin. And these are all found in what? In the real stomach. Then the solid portion of the cat, which is sent to the rumen, it is stayed there for up to 48 hours. For 48 hours. What is taking place there? The fermentation through the microorganism. That is the breakdown of cellulose. Because this living or microorganism, they have some enzyme that can break down the cellulose here. So this solid portion is stayed for 48 hours under the fermentation. Then the true stomach produces hydrochloric acid and receives enzyme from pancreas and even from the liver, such as pepsin to break the protein, lipase to break down the fats. So all these enzymes, they are preparing the food for absorption in the small intestine. In the true stomach, which is abomasome, here you'll find hydrochloric acid, pepsin, and lipase. These two break down the protein, because the plant taken by this animal or gained as a food by this animal contain protein, and this protein cannot be accessed immediately like that. It should be broken down into the smallest units, that means into amino acids, so that the plant, the cell can access it. Lipase is to break down the fat into fatty acid, which are the smallest unit of fatty acids. This is the form of fat can be absorbed by the cell, fatty acid, and this should be amino acid. This is the building block of protein. That means this stomach is preparing the food for absorption in the small intestine, because the food from this stomach now will move to the small intestine. So small intestine is the site where most of the absorption take place. The small intestine is the site where most of digestion take place, because this is where we find enzymatic action. The small intestine. This is the site of enzymatic action and absorption, most of absorption. Absorption. Why is it enzymatic action, side of enzymatic action? Because this where the digestion get completely over, and where all the materials will be absorbed. That's why you'll find it well equipped with intestinal juice. It is well equipped with intestinal juice or enzyme. Juice or enzymes. Like enzyme maltase, saccharase, then lactase. These are all enzymes that found in the small intestine, plus the bile. The bile is released through the gallbladder, because this is where the bile, when it is produced by the liver, then it is kept in the gallbladder to be released into the duodenum. Because we know small intestine is divided into 3 parts: the duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum. The duodenum is the first part, immediately after the stomach, and you'll find the bile duct or open into it. That's why the first digestion start here, then it come and complete itself in the ileum, where most of the absorption take place. So when we look at these 3 enzymes, these are the enzymes that break down the sugar into glucose. The bile break fats into fatty acid. And this maltase enzyme, that means it breaks the sugar which is called maltose into glucose. Then saccharase, this one breaks down sugar which is known as sucrose into glucose. Even lactase, this is the enzyme that break the sugar. This is the sugar that found in the milk. Lactose. It breaks also into the smallest unit. So these are the nutrients can be accessed now by the cell. And this take place where? In the small intestine, which is the site of most of the absorptions take place. Where most of the absorption take place. That means all this can be now absorbed by the small intestine. And we know very well the small intestine is well equipped with villi. These to increase surface area of absorption. Then the undigested food are sent to the large intestine. So from the small intestine here, now it is sent into the large intestine. The large intestine is made up of cecum, colon, then rectum here. Now the food has reached to the large intestine, and we know very well the function of large intestine is to absorb water, store the undigested food, which are now considered as waste product or waste material waiting for to be sent out of the body. This large intestine. Large intestine is made up of cecum, colon, and rectum. Cecum is the one connecting the large intestine with the smallest intestine, because it's the first part of the large intestine, and where the undigested food are stored to be sent out of the body. Then you'll find colon is the site where most of the water are absorbed from the undigested food, because the material reaching to the largest intestine are the undigested food. Undigested food. Undigested food or indigestible. Indigestible food. Undigested food which is not digested. Indigestible food which cannot be digested. So this now from the small intestine will be sent to the large intestine. So large intestine is served as a storage of waste material or waste product of the small intestine. At the same time, this is where the last absorption of the water takes place. And the part which is specified or is specialized in the water absorption in the large intestine is colon. Colon is where the water absorption takes place in the large intestine. Cecum is just receiving the waste material from the small intestine. So after the water is absorbed in the colon, now this waste material will be sent into the rectum as feces, in form of feces, just waiting for its time to come out through the vent or through the anus, that opening, exit. So this how the food are processed, because these feces now will be removed out of the body. This is a waste material, waste product, then will be sent out of the body. So dear learners, up to here we have covered the topic of food processing in ruminant digestive system, but we are to look at some exercise. So we have some exercise here. Let me put it on the board so that we can have it as an assignment or homework. Exercise. Name the 3 types of digestive system. Name the 3 types of digestive system in animal. Three types of digestive system in animal. Number 2, what type of foodstuff is high in energy and low in fiber? What type of food stuff is high in energy and low in fiber? What type of food stuff is low in energy and high in fiber? Is low in energy and high in fibers. So if you have been following our lessons systematically, you will be able to answer these questions, because we started talking about the digestive system. We learned 4 types of digestive system. Up to this time of ours, or up to this lesson, we learned 3 types of it. So you should be able to mention them. Then we talk about 2 types of food. The food eaten by the monogastric animals, different from the food eaten by the ruminant animals. So what are the types of the food that is high in energy and low in fiber? Type of the food that is low in energy and high in fiber. So by these questions, we have put an end for our lessons. Thanks for watching.